So we all agree that Twitter is terrible now, right? I think we all know this inherently, that Twitter or X has become one of the worst social media sites. Sometimes it feels like Twitter was once this beautiful, peaceful park where everyone could just hang out. But now that park has like 3 casinos, an underground fight ring, and creepy guys selling, I don't know, cigarettes to children. It's gross! And I know that Twitter was never perfect, but now its entire culture has morphed into this nightmare version of itself. Those of us who still use it, it feels like we're trapped here, and we're not happy about it. I was a late adopter to Twitter. I never used it in high school or much of college. I think there were 2 types of public schools you could go to in the 2010s. Ones that were Facebook schools, where everybody used Facebook, and ones that were Twitter schools. I went to a Facebook school. I only started using it around the beginning of 2019 when things started to pick up for me with this job. And I ended up really liking Twitter. It was a place that I could post some nonsensical, barely a joke statement like introducing Burger King Wendy McDonald. And that helped me build an audience. But now I find myself scrolling Twitter only to get annoyed and leave Twitter, forget what I was doing, and then go back into Twitter. And I'm like, am I in hell? Are we all in hell? And I'm sure this sounds like I just shouldn't be on Twitter anymore. And you're probably right. But I also want to complain about it. From its leadership, to its algorithm, to the systems it's added, and the users and culture that come from it, Twitter has gotten worse. But when did this start? I feel like it's pretty obvious. It's when Elon Musk got involved. Elon Musk is a really interesting individual because for the years prior to Elon purchasing Twitter, I kind of thought he was a cool guy. Not knowing too much about Elon and only looking at his achievements, he kind of seemed like a real-life Tony Stark. He was the CEO of Tesla, which led the charge on the adoption of electric vehicles. That's pretty cool. And yeah, I get car sick whenever my Uber ends up being a Tesla, but maybe that's just me getting butterflies for the future, baby. He founded SpaceX in 2002, which in 2020 became the first private company to put astronauts into orbit. And the rockets land now. They park. He's selling flamethrowers. And as of this month, there's almost 7,000 Starlink satellites orbiting around the planet providing internet. Where all you gotta do is just point that shit at the sky and you're streaming Friends. Plus, the guy is obsessed with getting some boots on Mars. And I'm like, okay. It's like Moon Landing 2, but red dirt and further away. Sign me up. To watch, I want to go, that's dangerous. So it seems like Elon Musk has achieved a lot and done some pretty significant things in the last like 20 years. But if I go to Elon Musk Wikipedia page and I look at any of those sections of his career, all of them are smaller in length than his section on Twitter. He's on Twitter for a little over 2 years. So what's going on here? The problem is, prior to Elon getting involved in Twitter, we only really got to see the results of what he did. Like, he still tweeted a lot, but now we see his thought process every day. In fact, you can't avoid it on Twitter unless you block him, which I had to do. And over the years, he's become a little bit more obsessed with concepts like free speech, which at a base level is a good thing. Now he's talking about the woke mind virus. Now he's posting edgier and edgier memes. And then push comes to shove, and now he's involved in the presidential election. Whoa. Elon, cut that out. Cut it out, Elon. Cut that out. So basically, at least on a personal level, I've become a little bit disillusioned with Elon's character. I don't think he's necessarily as cool as I thought he was, and I haven't for years. Partly because of his Elden Ring build, but mostly because of his behavior online and the changes that he's made to Twitter after he purchased it in October 2022 for $44 billion. There's plenty more you could say about Elon. Why do you do that at the inauguration? It's kind of hard to pretend that that was anything but what everyone thought it was. He's basically a billionaire CEO that behaves like a poorly socially adjusted content creator. But what I'm going to focus on are some things that Elon implemented into Twitter that had a series of consequences that have changed the app forever, starting with monetization. So one of the first things that Elon Musk did to Twitter was expand Twitter Blue, now known as X Premium, to give people access to a bunch of different features. One of them, notably, was giving you a blue checkmark. This led to a lot of justified confusion, because now it turned into a thing where pretty much anyone could pay to be verified, something that was previously reserved for politicians, public figures, and journalists. And it totally tanked the reliability of being verified on a website like this. All you needed was a phone number and money, and you'd be verified. Now they've got like an ID verification system, but when this was launched, phone number, money, you're good. People making fake Elon Musk accounts, fake Joe Biden accounts. It was kind of awesome. I also should mention that I do in fact have Twitter Blue on both my main account and Chuckle Sandwich. As a content creator on Twitter, it's kind of the only thing I can use to separate the accounts so people know it's real. But even now, I feel like someone could just make a Twitter account and verify it and be me. But if being a social media person wasn't my job, I don't know if I would have Twitter Blue, to be honest with you. Just gotta mention that for transparency. I don't think it invalidates any of the things I'm about to say about Twitter Blue. Anyway, so on July 15th of 2023, Twitter announced its monetization plan for verified users. So now they've made a system where you pay Twitter so that maybe Twitter can pay you. It's the perfect plan. No, in fact, it was not. It was probably one of the main things that made the website terrible. I suddenly noticed that a lot of verified users on Twitter had a lot of knowledge that they couldn't fit into a single tweet. It had to be a thread. Most successful people move with this mindset. Entitled to nothing, willing to earn everything. 10 other truths of the ultra successful. Good habits are the new antidepressants. If you're in a bad spot in your life, read this. The Lazy Man's Playbook to Losing Fat and Becoming More Handsome Quick. A thread. Never mind the fact that having Twitter Premium allows you to post tweets up to 25,000 characters long, this had to be a thread. Half the time for me, it's targeting something like productivity or losing weight. And as I sit there scrolling Twitter aimlessly on my couch, I'm thinking, God, this thread is gonna change my life. But the reason why they do this is because the first version of Twitter's monetization was paying people based on the ads that were served to users in their reply. Which in order to get people in there, it's gotta be a thread. But then Twitter managed to make it worse. Somehow. Announcing that they were switching their monetization plan to being based on any and all engagement that a tweet could get. And I just think this is a bad idea. I think that's a horrible idea, actually. Because that means that any attention is good attention. That means that any post that brings engagement makes you money. And it resulted in a new apex predator in the Twitter landscape. These are engagement baiters. Engagement baiters are pretty much what you'd expect them to be. They're Twitter accounts whose sole purpose is to make posts that will get as much engagement as possible from users so that they in turn make money. So how is this different from what I'm doing literally right now? Well, I'd like to think that I'm actually bringing some of myself to the table here. My opinions and research, my editing, my writing, whatever. Whereas every single one of these accounts has never posted anything that they themselves created. Starting with the lowest tier of engagement baiters, which I call content recyclers. If you're on Twitter, you may have seen accounts like Juju or Kira. If you go into the For You section on Twitter, they're almost impossible to avoid. Their behavior online is probably the closest to what Twitter used to be, at least in my memory, where they'll have a quote retweet about something, making a joke, and it'll do very well. But what sucks about this is I can't tell how many of the things that they're posting are actually things that they thought of themselves. Like in the case of this toilet seat that's shaped like LeBron. They clearly just took it off of another social media post, repackaged it, and now they're making money. And what sucks is this used to be like a novel thing about Twitter. Yeah, sure, you'd have content recyclers, but there was not a financial incentive to do so. It was either people arguing about politics, whatever's going on in stan culture, or some random college freshman in Kansas making a funny observation about the world, tweeting a sentence about it, and then it gets 300K likes. And there was a purity to that. It was like overhearing a funny conversation. What's worse is that a lot of accounts that used to be themed around a certain topic have gotten a little bit loosey-goosey on what falls under their umbrella. For instance, let's look at creepy.org. Explore the creepy side of the world. Their location is Transylvania. They're following 666 people. And they've got a website. This seems pretty legit. Let's click on it. Oh. Links back to the Twitter page. But based on how this account is set up, you'd expect that if you were to follow, it would be posting purely creepy stuff to explore the creepy side of the world. I'm looking for ghouls. I'm looking for goblins. I'm looking for freaky motherfuckers. I don't know what that would be. And a lot of the time they do post that. A street light covered in vines in Poland. That's pretty creepy. Looks like a ghost thing. You open your eyes at 3 a.m. and see this. What you doing? Probably gonna scream. That's freaky. Abandoned torii gate found at the end of a submerged tunnel in Japan. Oh, okay, that's creepy, yeah. Mizuki, a professional wrestler in Japan doing her signature move. This is kind of awesome, isn't it? What happened to Jonah Hill? He lost weight. I don't think that's creepy. Baby kangaroo came to a kid for help during the wildfires. That's heartwarming. That's not creepy at all. What happened to Brie Larson? She got a haircut and she dyed her. People do that all the time. Lana Del Rey. In general? Sydney Sweeney and Billie Eilish could ruin my life. Okay, I feel like we've lost the plot here. Now we're just tweeting random stuff. And you can post whatever you want. It's a free internet. But don't theme your account around something if you're not gonna go through the effort to stick to it. Have some commitment. The next tier of engagement baiters are reply fishers. And we've seen this a little bit with the last account when they'll ask a question of anyone who sees the post to solicit a response, which I think is fine at a base level. You're gonna see that all across social media. What makes it dishonorable, in my opinion, is when you can tell that they're preying on the divisiveness and anger of people on the internet in order to get them to argue in their replies to make money. For instance, this tweet where they're quoting a woman in a video at first. I did not join the military to serve my country. I joined the military to get a VA home loan, the GI Bill, and student loan forgiveness. That's it. But then the user adds, don't you feel safer knowing this is the morale among the people who are supposed to be protecting you and our country? Clearly, this is angled in a way where people are gonna show up in the replies and they're gonna be like, wait, what the fuck? This person doesn't care about America! Oh, what the fuck? You son of a bitch! Fuck, this person is such a piece of shit! What the hell? And it did happen. This should be a disqualifying video. Kick her out of the military. Recover any bonuses or perks she was paid and given. She swore an oath, and obviously it means nothing. She deserves nothing in return. Get rid of this trash. Like, oh my God. What is wrong with this person? Luckily, in this thread in particular, there were plenty of actual veterans going into the replies and being like, yeah, no, those are called benefits. They still serve their country either way. There's nothing wrong with their reason for doing so. And this type of post is happening a lot on Twitter. Like even creepy.org posted this. Do you think that Jesus was born on December 20th? I don't even know what type of argument they're trying to goad people into with this. But why AI generate a sign of him saying that he wasn't born on December 25th? Because you want people to get mad. And most of the examples I could give you are either political or religious or around identity in their topic. I think that you can understand what people are posting in this regard. I don't know if we need to go through every single hate baiting post on Twitter in order to make this point, but we could go through the sponsor. This video is proudly sponsored by Honkai Star Rail. This game is a multi-platform space fantasy RPG by Hoyoverse. You know, the folks that made Genshin Impact. You heard of that one? Be warned, this game is only for those who have the spirit of space adventure in their heart, which if you've been following my channel for a while, it's kind of one of our main tenets here. Space adventure. It is. And what's better, this game comes with more than 30 playable characters that each have their own unique personality, backstory, and charm. And it's a semi-open world experience. So you can solve puzzles, explore each NPC's story, and most of all, at least for me, unlock treasure chests. Because another main tenet of this channel, loot goblin. That's what I am. That's what you are. We're a bunch of little loot goblins. Treasure chest? Sounds like loot to me. And now, Honkai Star Rail version 3.0 is here, where the Astral Express journeys to the new world of Enforius, and it's one of the most significant updates today. They've got two new characters, starting with the Herta, an ice-type character who is a mysterious and beautiful sorceress. Pretty cool. And the Herta's technique marks 3 to 5 treasure chest locations on your map, making it easier for players to find them loot goblins. I'd call this a win. All my loot goblins out there, that sounds like a win. I would call this a win. The other new character is Aglaia, who is a lightning type character who can summon a garment maker into battle using her skill. And this thing can team up with Aglaia for joint attacks, joint fighting. Version 3.0 also introduces many new events, relics, enemies, and maps for players to explore. So let's just say there's a lot going on, and you should totally give it a shot. So go download the game using my link and use the limited time redemption code to get 50 Stellar Jade. Thanks so much to Honkai Star Rail for sponsoring. And let's get back to it. Now, the only thing that's able to combat engagement bait on Twitter right now is community notes. This is something that existed before Elon took over. It was previously called Birdwatch to combat misinformation. And one of the good things about community notes is that if you're a monetized user and you get a community note on your post, that post is now unable to make revenue, which is good. For instance, this post that was likely a Reddit post that this user copy and pasted into tweet form to farm engagement was then given a community note letting people know that it was quite literally not their story to tell. They kind of screwed themselves though, because they admitted that. But this is still kind of a flawed system, because if you're a Twitter goblin making 100 posts a day as an engagement baiter, licking your lips and posting, who's the hottest chick in town? I'll start first. I think it's Megan Fox. Let me know what you think below. You're not exactly gonna be worried about a couple posts slipping through the cracks. At the end of the day, if you're posting enough, you're gonna be making money. So yeah, Twitter's monetization system is really bad, where most of the posts I see in the For You section are just sloppy hot, stinky garbage. Who's the hottest chick in town? Is it Megan Fox? This is so creepy. Billie Eilish can ruin my life. Fucking, I think that racism is good. Reply below. Like shit like that. And then you couple it with an algorithm that, at least in its early stages, resulted in me seeing a couple videos of people just straight up dying. It's a fucking mess. He doesn't care. He's a fucking raven.
It's a fucking mess.
But Elon did bring another brand of account to the surface with all of his changes, which in my opinion is the most ridiculous. And those are the alpha male accounts. These accounts are just funny to look at, because as the internet, and specifically Twitter, has become kind of like more Andrew Tate-ified, it feels like, I guess you would call them incels on the internet, now more than ever have no idea what a woman would want. It's like they've all been sitting in like a echo chamber dating lab in a bunker, cooking cooking up new ideas on what women want from men without ever asking a woman if that were the case. There's loads of these accounts. Masculine Notes, Elite Masculine, Wisdom for Men, Masculine King, Badassum Coach, Masculine Ego, Ego of Sigma, Masculine Soul, Masculine Theory. This is science now, but also a spiritual practice. And if you see my video from a long time ago about alpha male Instagram accounts, they're kind of like that, but expanded. Because now they've mastered their vertical. Like this one guy selling his 3 volumes of the Chad Mindset for $100. And that might seem like a steep price, but it does include 100 quotes from ancient Stoics. So if you ever want to hear about being a Chad from Plato, you're all set. Darkest female secrets that no woman wants you to know. Dark female psychology thread. All right, here we go. About to learn some information. Number 1, women can't keep secrets. So right off the bat, I'm confused. You're telling me that the first of the darkest female secrets that no woman wants you to know is that they can't keep secrets? So is this all public info? Number 7, when you cheat on her, she doesn't hate you. She hates the woman you cheated on her with. No, she probably still hates you. You're still a part of that choice. I like to think this is a guy who cheated on someone and is now just gaslighting himself by making it a rule. No, she doesn't fucking hate me. She hates me, that girl I cheated on. She doesn't hate me. She hates the girl. Women only hate each other. I love this one from the thread, men who do this never get left by women. Number 9, continue brainwashing her with your beliefs. She needs someone's perspective and counsel. If you do not provide it to her, she will look for someone else. Brainwashing is such an interesting word to use here. They could have just said, give her your opinion, but no. We're out here brainwashing women. You're out here trying to build a relationship. I'm out here brainwashing women. We're trying to build a 2-person cult, my guy. Then some of the threads that I found started to get a little bit more concerning, such as 8 ways to destroy women's ego instantly. Immediately wondering why we're trying to do that. Number 1, looking at other women. Yes, she needs to know that you're wide-eyed and always looking at others. Don't be too obvious and say, damn, did you see that ass? I'm not saying you have to overdo it, but when you walk with her, you can look at other girls. Right now, we're not trying to fix you up with this girl. She's not a good girl because her ego is too big. She doesn't know what she's worth. She thinks she's too important. No, she needs to come down so you can look at other women. Don't comment, but you can look. What is this? What? This is starting to feel like no validation. We don't give compliments. We don't talk about how good she looks or how beautiful she is. No, we don't do that. You never put a woman on a pedestal, especially if she doesn't deserve it. Okay, this is almost to a T, a step-by-step on what not to do. It's actually impressive how little application this would have in a real-life social situation. Another set of accounts I see are alpha male accounts that are pretending to be run by women when you can tell that they're just not. For instance, you've got Latina Casanova, Learn to Seduce. If you're trying to make a believable woman, Latina Casanova would be at the top of my list of names that wouldn't work. I'm pretty sure the profile picture is AI. They use it everywhere. There's no other photo of Latina Casanova. It'll be a real big bummer if it turns out she's real though, because honestly, if Latina Casanova is a real person, I will be over the moon. The thoughts from female minds. Another AI generated image of a woman. What are the thoughts from female minds? I want him to take me to a place he likes. Okay. Love is a game, and games are meant to be played. Not sure if that one's true. I want my guy to be funny, but not because he tells jokes all the time. What is he supposed to do then? Is there an expectation of slapstick comedy here? What do you want him to slip on a banana peel? Men who constantly talk about masculinity are probably insecure. Oh, okay, this one actually might be run by a woman. Don't talk so much, just act like a man. Ah, okay. And finally, with the alpha male accounts, they eventually reach a point where they become so masculine that they begin to talk like cavemen. Men focus on the process, boys focus on the goal. Won't explain. Talk slow, be direct. Don't look away. Being fat is disrespectful to your ancestors. Beware of girls with colored hair. Won't explain. Dangerous mode, stomach empty, balls full. Don't work out, train. And train like you are being hunted. And then my personal favorite, ejaculation drains you. Staying horny fuels you. I don't even know where this would have application. So obviously in this day and age, alpha male accounts are still going strong. And they are thriving on this version of Twitter we have today. But obviously this video isn't about the little niche pockets of Twitter. It is about Twitter as a whole, which leads me to just for a second talk about the culture. To me, the culture of Twitter just feels way angrier than it's ever felt before. I have seen far more quote retweets, tweets, replies, whatever, that are just nastier than I remember people being. And a part of me feels like it's somehow related to all of the stuff I've shown you guys leading up to this point. Like take this for instance. First ever date tonight. Absolutely bricking it. I think that's a British term. Wish us luck, ladies and gentlemen. This is so wholesome. Guy's going on a first date. He's bringing flowers. This guy's a legend. He's got 437K likes. And I'm sure people are being very supportive.
Flowers. Enjoy the friend zone, young man. Make this a learning experience.
Why are you taking flowers?
Flowers on the first date is a little much.
Hope you've been the flowers, mate. It stinks of desperation, which you most definitely are not. Hope it went well.
Flowers are not the move right away, dude. You have a lot to learn about female psychology.
The initial response left a little bit to be desired. I remember reading the replies to this recently after it had been posted, and I was blown away by how little these people knew on impressing a woman on their first date. If you're a person watching my channel right now, focus up. Come here. Women love flowers. People love flowers in general. It's like the oldest display of affection. I could almost guarantee you that we were given flowers to each other in the Ice Age. And it indicates you put in a little bit more effort than just showing up. Doesn't make you look desperate. It indicates interest and intention. Women love that shit. And if they don't like it, they probably weren't interested in you to begin with. Luckily, after a bit of this post marinating on the timeline, there was a bunch of people that came to this guy's defense. But it's crazy how several years ago, I feel like nobody would have had to do that. A couple of years ago, half of the replies would have been shit like, thanks for letting me borrow your Lamborghini, man. Appreciate that. You got a great car, and you're really charming and cool and handsome, and also you got a big cock. Like, and now it's a bunch of losers in the replies being like, that's a one-way ticket to the friend zone, my guy. Like, what are you talking about? Another example is this woman posting about a video she made like 4 years ago that went viral. She's not doing anything. She's just like, hey, here's a funny video I made 4 years ago. Remember that? Then this person quote retweets it and says, girl, move on. And it has 176,000 likes. This is like the laziest attempt to be a bully I've ever seen. Obviously, I know the internet is a breeding ground for negativity. It's always been like, and I'm definitely not saying that Twitter used to be this paragon of peaceful interaction. It wasn't. But I feel like I see way more people being just mean for the sake of being mean on this website in particular, and receiving a higher level of validation for doing so, which is strange. So yeah, Twitter is not what it used to be. Now when we log on, we're forced to be a part of, or at least witness, an ongoing chaotic conversation that most of us didn't even want to have. Before, we'd have to seek it out. But now every time you go onto Twitter, it's some Elon Stan account spouting the deepest dark web conspiracy theory, with Elon himself in the replies saying, looking into this, as if he's perched on some Star Trek captain's chair hunting down the secrets of the deep state. Like he's some superhero answering the call of justice. He acts like such a loser. And even as someone with as many followers as I have on Twitter, someone who could potentially stand to gain from its current monetization system, I don't feel like I can be involved anymore like I used to. It's like living in New York City, but then every borough is modeled after Times Square. It's overwhelming and it's kind of a pain in the ass. Twitter used to be kind of like a playground. You could go on the swing set, you could climb on the monkey bars, you could go on the slide. Now it looks more like a merry-go-round that never stops running. The only way to get on is while it's moving, and once you're on, everybody is angry and screaming at each other, and nobody is actually enjoying themselves. We're all just getting nauseous.